Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth part of the Whiteboard coding interview questions with solutions for software testing job interviews. We are using Java here. So today's question, this is the seventh question. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please watch them. Today's question is especially related to the last question that we did. So in the last question, we actually reversed a string, and this is an extension of that activity. So the question is, write a code to see if a given word is a palindrome. Example, palindromes noon and a race car. So palindrome means if you have noon and if you reverse the string, it should sound like noon. Okay, and race car, if you reverse it, it will be race car again. So we have to check whether it's a palindrome or not. All right, so let's look at the code that we did last time. So this is the code that we completed last time. Just adjust the screen. Okay. um so in this code we have to add a few things. So we can reverse a string so far, and we now have to check if the reverse string is same as the given string. That's the extension. We already know how to reverse the string. So to do that, first of all, I need an empty string. So let's say string reverse. This is my empty string. I need the empty string because I want to save the reverse string, which we already did. You can see the loop. So I want to save that value in the reverse string. So how do I do that? So let's look at a picture to understand this. So let me see how this works. Okay, so this is string reverse. You can see this is the empty string that we have here. So what I want to do is the reverse is now empty. And now look at this line. This is important to understand. So in this line, what I'm doing is that this is empty, the reverse is empty. So this is an empty string. There is nothing in there. And you're saying this is equal to reverse, which is also empty. And now you're saying a string dot char at I. So if you remember from the last class, when we do that, a string dot char at I, it actually gets the value of d, because that's the first I, and because we are starting from D. So now you're printing D, and in Java you're allowed to add a character, because this is returning a character. A string dot char at I is returning a character, and now you can add that character to a string. So that's what we are trying to do here. So when you do a string dot char at I, it's actually saying, okay, I'm printing D. And when you're printing D, you're adding that D to this reverse. So that means your reverse is becoming empty plus D. So empty plus D is just D. So that means this reverse becomes D, because empty plus D is just D. So in the first iteration, when I is D, your reverse becomes D. Okay, so that's how it works. In the next run, since remember the D, you in the reverse you already have D. So in the next iteration, your reverse is already D. So you have saying, okay, the reverse is D, okay, and then a string char at I. So now it's no longer D, it becomes C. So now you're saying, okay, add a D and C. So now your new reverse becomes D and C, okay, because you're adding this to, this is the second iteration. This is first, this is second, then it'll be third iteration again. So now your reverse is DC, and now it's no longer C, it becomes B, and now it's adding DCB. So now your third iteration you're getting DCB. So that's how it works. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so I have the empty string reverse, and instead of printing it, I don't want to print it now. I'll print it later, because if I print it now, it will just reverse it. So what my plan is, I want to do, okay, reverse equal reverse plus a string char at I. So as I said, in the first iteration it will print D, and then second iteration will add C since you're adding, and then B, and then A. Okay, so now if I print this here and say okay, print reverse, I can do this here, but there is a problem. So let me show you what's going to happen now. Let me adjust the screen. Okay. Right, so now you can see it's printing something DDCD. Okay, there is some problems going on here. Okay, so how do we fix this? So the problem is now when you're iterating it, adding the values, but we need to see the details. So let's not print this here. Let's try to print this outside the for loop. Okay, and let's see what happens now. Okay, so now it's working fine, because the problem is when you are printing it here, it's updating the reverse, it's also updating this reverse, and it's also updating I. So there is a problem. It's printing D first, then it's gonna, each iteration is printing, so that's why there is an issue that you'll see a lot of different values in each iteration, so which we don't want to see. We just want to see that the reverse is now DCBA, so it already reversed, so ABCD becomes DCBA. Okay, so now how do we say if it's a palindrome or not? So we can use the if statement. So if we're gonna see if reverse equals a string, and then we can say, oh, okay, if they're equal, then it is a palindrome. So let's print that. It's a system dot out dot print. I'm gonna say a string. This is the given string, and I'm gonna say okay, this is, we're using concatenation, so is a palindrome. Okay, so a string is a palindrome if they're equal, or we can say else um, if it's not. And what do you want to print? So you want to say it's not a palindrome, so let's do that. Let's copy this and paste it here. Okay, is not a palindrome. Okay, so now let's see what happens. So let's try to run this. So it should say it's not a palindrome. Okay, so now you can see it's saying these. Okay, so let's see what happened there, because we see there are DCBA is printing. Oh, okay, the reason is we are printing this here again, so let's not print this here. We just want to see if it's a palindrome or not. Okay, okay, so now you can see, because it printed the reverse string and then doing ABCD, that's why. So now you're saying ABCD is not a palindrome. Okay, there is one thing you have to know. Some of you might want to use equal sign, double equal sign. If you do that, it will not work, because the double equal signs are actually operators. So double equal actually checks if both objects point to the same memory. So reverse and a string are not pointing to the same locations. In that, for that reason, you cannot use double equal sign or the operator sign. You must use the equal, which actually compares the two contents. That the contents are A, B, C, D, and the contents are D, C, B, A. Okay, so we just write noon and see if it prints palindrome or not. If I write noon and run it, you'll see noon is a palindrome. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.